Welcome to crocodilemtg, your home of competitive, constructed play in the modern, standard, and legacy formats. Today's video was brought to you by the wonderful supporters over at Patreon. Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Jordan with crocodilemtg, here bringing you another Magic the Gathering video. Today we are playing some mono red prison. Our opponent's on the play. I think we're gonna mulligan this. I don't think we have enough threats. This, however, is probably a keepable hand. It's not great, but it's alright. I think we'll keep this mountain on top. We wanna have double red for most of our threats. So our opponent starts with a volcanic and passes. We're gonna start with a mountain. And we'll pass back to our opponent. We'll see what our opponent's on. It looks like they're playing Miracles, potentially. They paused on their draw is the only reason I kind of said that. Yeah, and we'll start getting some pressure down on our opponent. So we're going to play out this Legion War Boss, and we'll see what our opponent does. They casted... Alright, so they're going to cast a Daze, and we actually drew the Simian Spirit Guide to pay for the Daze. Alright, we just 3 for 2'd, so that was pretty good card advantage on our end. Alright, so we have some options here. I think I want to kind of play this Magus and see if it sticks. Alright, another force from our opponent. So our opponent is pitching all of the cards in their hand, which that's very good for us. I'm going to just play out this mountain and pass back. Next turn, it's either Trinisphere or Legion War Boss. I think it all depends on how... Like, our opponent, I think, is keeping this Wasteland because they need it for the mana. Alright, so our opponent... 2 Volcanics now for our opponent. And a Ponder. It kind of makes me want to play next turn Legion War Boss. Or not Legion War Boss, this Trinisphere. And then Legion War Boss the turn after. Alright, I'm going to start with Trinisphere. I'm going to see if we can deduct our opponent. Keep our opponent off their sources. Oh, they have a Spell Pierce. Okay. We have to be wary of our life total here. We're going down quite a bit. Alright, that was rough from our opponent. The Spell Pierce off the top. Alright, now we have City of Traders, so we're at a little bit of a better life total now. I do want to take a minute and recognize that if I didn't keep this other mountain on top on our scry, we wouldn't have double red right now, so we wouldn't be able to play out this Fiery Confluence if we end up having to, or able to. And anything like Chandra, any of our double red spells we wouldn't have been able to play out. So Flooded Strand from our opponent here. Alright, Forked Bolt. So we have a Lonely 1/1, and now we have a Rabble Master. Alright, so we're going to start keeping pressure on our opponent. All these goblins are attacking in. I'm not even sure what our opponent's playing. Just blue-red Delver, I guess. They have the true name. They have Grixis Delver. Our opponent with a ton of lands here. Alright, Blood Moon, it feels pretty good. So I'm going to start with swinging in. And if our opponent doesn't do anything, we can potentially kill them this turn. Alright, so we're going to go for the kill. We're going to see what our opponent has. We have 2 mana up for Daze and Spell Pierce. Alright, and that does it. So now we're going to go to the sideboard. We're going to bring in these Scab Clan Berserkers. Kozilek's Return doesn't do anything to True Name, so we're not going to bring that in. I could bring in a Snaring Bridge, though, so I think those can come in. What do we take out here? So our opponent's on a 3-color deck. That's pretty good. I don't think Hazaret on the Ensnaring Bridge, though. Hazaret just doesn't feel as good in this matchup. So Chalice feels good. Fiery Confluence is another one that's kind of like half and half. It was good in that game. It actually won us the game, but I think I'm going to take out P and Kieran. It's tough sometimes in these matchups making sure you're siding just right. Ensnaring Bridge is definitely coming in. I think that's our fight against True Name. I could see cutting a Chandra because dedicating all your mana into a couple cards, especially when they have counter spells. Like, it isn't often we have 5 mana, even with our mana lands. So sometimes it's just better to, against control, kind of go down in threats. So I'm going to trim a Chalice here. I think the other thing to trim is a Trinisphere. I think I want to put enough pressure on our opponent. Trinisphere is one of those cards that if it comes down early enough is really good, but... Alright, we're going to keep this hand. We have the potential of a turn 1 Magus. And then from there we just have a ton of different lands to play. We don't have double red though, which can be concerning. Alright, Ponder from our opponent. We are up a game over our opponent here. Alright, Lotus Petal is pretty good here. I'm going to start with Ancient Tomb. Alright, Magus got down. So now they're restricted probably just to blue and red, which are 2 of their colors, so I don't know if this is going to matter too much. Alright, I'm going to get down one of these City of Traders and see if I can get a second one down before they are able to kill this Magus. I'm not too worried about this Young Pyromancer because this Fiery Confluence in hand, I can just ping all the creatures for 1, which feels pretty good. I do have to worry about our opponent finding a counter spell though. And if they find a counter spell and we're not able to kill these this Young Pyromancer and their tokens, then that could be an issue. So looking at our sideboard, I guess I could see bringing in the Kozilek's Return, but I think this is a little more, you know, the Fiery Confluence is a little more versatile. So they just play a mountain here. Alright, we're going to cast a Lotus Petal. We're going to play this other City of Traders. And I think I just play out this Simian Spirit Guide. I don't think there's any advantage to keeping it in the hand. Alright, we'll pass back. Again, we don't have too much pressure on our opponent at the moment. Alright, Brainstorm from our opponent. Alright, Wasteland, which comes in as a mountain. And now I'm curious if we're going to be able to get this Fiery Confluence to stick or not. I feel like our opponent at this point probably has a counter spell. That being said, this is the best time to do it because our opponent doesn't have Daze, and they also don't have I mean, they have days up, but they don't have away the double days. And they also don't have, like, they have to have force will is essentially what I'm saying. So I'm going to try this. All right, and it works, so we're going to attack in. I'm actually surprised that worked. All right, Delver from our opponent. And now we have Chandra. I guess we're going to start with attacking. Yeah, I'm just going to throw down the Chandra here. We'll tick up. I don't think we can't cast that. So our opponent at 5. We're probably going to get this game. Our opponent wasn't able to flip the Delver. And we'll see what we draw off the top. All right, Rabble Master. We'll swing in. And I think this is going to be the game. Okay, so our opponent stifles the triggers, trying to stay alive here. All right, our opponent down to 1. Can they flip this Delver? I don't think it's going to matter if they can, but... All right, that's the game. Thank you so much for watching. Please go hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed today's video. For your custom playmats, mouse pads, and more, head over to Inked Gaming. Use promo code crocodilemtg10 to receive 10% off your order. Today's video was brought to you by the wonderful supporters over at Patreon.